The last thing they would expect is to find a suitcase with a human body in it.
The big question is, how the hell did he get there?
They were crazy in love at first, but it quickly became tumultuous. There were infidelities. They'd go back and forth. They'd fight. I think they liked the drama of it.
And the next thing coming out of his mouth is, when I get home, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to smash your face in. He said he was leaving and he wasn't coming back.
Were you ever angry enough to want to see him dead?
There were times I wanted him gone, but gone doesn't mean dead.
And Mel just said, well, I'm a single mom now, and now I've just got to get on with my life. I said, well, no, the next thing is we've got to figure out who did this to him. And after I got off the phone, I said, she did it.
They couldn't find any forensic evidence whatsoever to establish that this was a crime scene.
Do you still insist that you're innocent?
Absolutely. I still feel like, how could somebody think that I did that?
I think she did not actually commit the crime.
It turns out it isn't the end of this story.
This case begins with a missing person report that quickly turned into a murder investigation. A nurse's husband went missing, and 3 suitcases were found 300 miles away from their home. Once they were opened, the situation changed completely. They contained human remains wrapped in trash bags. What if the perfect murder wasn't about the killing at all? Sometimes the real mistake was everything that came after.
A student discovered a suitcase near Fisherman Island. Inside, a human head.
It's getting a lot of coverage.
It's the second suitcase in a week found near the Chesapeake Bay Bridge Tunnel, and the second one containing body parts.
Today, we're investigating the shocking case of Melanie McGuire, the infamous suitcase murder, filled with lies, late-night drives, plastic bags, a gun, and a fire that was supposed to hide everything, but did the exact opposite. Melanie McGuire was a 31-year-old fertility nurse living in Woodbridge, New Jersey. Her husband, Bill McGuire, was 39. He worked as a computer programmer and had served in the U.S. Navy previously. They were raising 2 young children and getting ready to move into a new house. Although their lives seemed calm on the outside, there were constant arguments between them around money and Bill's gaming. According to court documents, Bill accumulated several debts related to gaming over the years. Melanie was also involved in an affair with her boss at the fertility clinic, Dr. Bradley Miller. The relationship had been going on for months. They were texting constantly, meeting in hotel rooms, and talking about a new life together. Melanie even told her friends that she was planning to leave Bill, and he had already spoken to a divorce lawyer. Investigators recovered more than 4,500 phone calls and messages between Melanie and Dr. Miller in the preceding months of the incident. On the 28th of April, 2004, Bill McGuire and Melanie closed on their first home. That evening, Bill called the gas company at 5:37 p.m. to transfer the account and spoke to 2 friends at 5:44 and 5:59 p.m. to share the news. After 6:10 p.m., there is no record of him contacting anyone else. His sudden silence was unusual, as he normally used his phones frequently for work and social calls. Melanie claimed that in the early hours of the 29th of April, 2004, Bill became violent, choking her with a dryer sheet and hitting her. She claims that he left the apartment later that night without taking his wallet, phone, or car. She had tried to contact him, but had no idea where he might have gone. That is the account she provided. Bill's co-workers reported him missing when he failed to show up for work. At this early stage of time, no crime had been proven, and law enforcement didn't take it seriously right away. Melanie stuck to her story. She acted confused, worried, and a little dramatic. On May 5, 2004, a suitcase washed ashore near the Chesapeake Bay in Virginia. A fisherman named DeLeo spotted the luggage floating near the waterline and notified authorities. The suitcase contained human legs wrapped in plastic. After analyzing the cutting pattern, investigators concluded that someone with knowledge of anatomical structure was most likely the culprit. According to the medical examiner's later testimony, a reciprocating saw seemed to have been used for the dissection. But the nightmare wasn't over. 6 days after the first discovery, a second suitcase was found. The investigators found the victim's head, hands, and feet inside it. The damage to the face made it nearly impossible to identify the body. Investigators had to turn to dental records and fingerprints to create a profile. On May 16, 2004, a third suitcase was found containing the torso. After examining all 3 cases, investigators were confident the remains belonged to Bill McGuire.
This is a sketch of the body that washed ashore near the Chesapeake Bay Bridge Tunnel this month.
He belongs to somebody. I mean, he's got loved ones.
She thinks, oh my God, that looks like Bill.
The suitcases were identified as belonging to a particular brand that was offered in a chain of stores in New Jersey. Police eventually confirmed that the same brand was purchased at a store near the McGuire residence. It was determined that the plastic bags within the suitcases were a store-specific item with a distinctive drawstring style. Investigators searched the McGuire apartment and recovered the same type of trash bags in the home. The floral-patterned tape used to seal the bags matched a roll found inside the residence. This marked the shift in the case from a missing person investigation to a murder investigation.
Do you regret not testifying?
Absolutely, absolutely. I kept being told by my legal team, well, you don't have to legally defend yourself. You don't have to legally say anything. And while that may be technically true, if you're not saying anything, it's because people think that you don't have anything to say.
A search warrant was granted. When investigators searched the apartment, they found several suspicious items. Among them was a reciprocating saw with biological material that later tested positive for Bill's DNA. There were traces of blood in some sections of the bathroom tile. Afterwards, forensic analysis verified that the blood samples matched Bill's DNA profile. Even though some samples were too damaged to provide a full profile, Melanie thought she'd planned everything perfectly. But evidence has a way to show up. Let's go through the clues she accidentally left behind. Receipts located inside the apartment showed purchases of cleaning supplies, waders, and trash bags within 2 days of Bill's disappearance. Melanie admitted to these purchases, but denied they had any connection to the crime. One of the most significant early developments came from toll and vehicle records. Bill's Nissan Maxima was found abandoned at the Flamingo Motel in Atlantic City. At first, it supported Melanie's claim that Bill may have gone gambling again. But the Pass toll records pointed directly to Melanie McGuire, driving the car down the Atlantic City Expressway at night. She claimed she moved it out of anger. But police later found what they called human sawdust, tiny biological remnants consistent with tissue fragments inside the vehicle.
There were different parts of the body. So in one suitcase, there was kind of a torso with the arms and head still attached. In a second suitcase, there was the pelvis area. And in the third suitcase, there was really the legs down.
Patty Prezioso, the lead investigator and prosecutor in Melanie McGuire's case, said the human sawdust came from Bill McGuire's dismemberment. True crime author John Glatt, who wrote To Have and to Kill about Melanie McGuire's case, explained the investigators' view. They believed this otherwise careful nurse had accidentally carried tiny particles from Bill's body on the bottom of her shoes. She simply forgot to clean them before getting into the car. Melanie had purchased a .38 caliber handgun 2 days before Bill disappeared. The gun was registered in her name. She filled out the necessary forms, including one in which she indicated the weapon was solely for her use. Melanie McGuire said that Bill McGuire requested her to buy the gun for him because he couldn't buy one on his own, to a felony conviction from a poor driving record. However, it was the timing of that purchase that truly drew the attention of detectives. Ballistics testing showed that Bill had been shot with a .38 caliber gun. The type of bullets and wound characteristics matched the weapon she bought, even though the gun was never found. Investigators obtained the couple's computer and analyzed the search history. She'd been Googling things like how to commit murder, undetectable poisons, gun laws in Pennsylvania, and even how to make chloroform. Melanie claimed Bill used the computer, and maybe he searched for those things, but employment records confirmed he was at work during many of those timestamps. Digital forensic specialists testified that the browser searches originated from the user profile, labeled male, which was Melanie's account on the computer. As the investigation progressed, Melanie continued to maintain her innocence. She attended custody hearings and cooperated with routine questioning. Nearly a year after the murder, on the 25th of April, 2005, a fire broke out in the McGuire family's old townhouse. Neighbors saw smoke and alerted emergency services. When firefighters entered the home, they discovered the fire was limited to the upstairs bathroom. It was quickly extinguished. According to reports, investigators found a melted plastic tub on the bathroom floor. It contained partially burned documents. Some were readable. Some sources say there were things like medical notes, love letters from Dr. Miller, and a receipt for trash bags, matching those found with Bill's remains, was among the items recovered. Melanie claimed she accidentally knocked over a candle while cleaning the property, but fire investigators reported that the damage pattern was not consistent with an unintentional candle fire, and that the fire started inside the bathtub. Once investigators connected the fire to the ongoing homicide case, they searched surrounding areas of the home again. Additional items were collected for analysis. Many of them confirmed contradictions in Melanie's timeline. As the case moved forward, prosecutors built a timeline using receipts, surveillance footage, cell phone records, toll information, witness testimony, and forensic analysis. Melanie's defense argued that Bill's lifestyle and gambling history placed him at risk of harm from others. They claimed he was involved with people who could have committed the crime. Witnesses said that Bill occasionally acted aggressively, but none of the allegations pointed to another suspect. The prosecution focused heavily on the timeline of events. They highlighted the gun purchase, the argument, Bill's disappearance, the movement of the car, the toll records, and the forensic evidence found in the apartment. They also pointed to the fire that happened while Melanie was out on bail, suggesting it added to the suspicious pattern. Prosecutors also presented evidence that Melanie applied for a restraining order against Bill after reporting him missing. They argued this was her attempt to create a story that would support her version of events in court. Every time investigators questioned Melanie, her answers seemed to shift. First, she said Bill left on his own. Then she suggested maybe he was gambling. Then maybe he was kidnapped. There were so many maybes. The trial began in 2007 and lasted 7 weeks. Forensic specialists, law enforcement officers, medical professionals, neighbors, co-workers, and digital analysts all gave testimony. The defense attempted to argue that Melanie was being framed or misinterpreted, but the cumulative evidence weighed heavily against her. Prosecutors presented Melanie as a cold-blooded, cunning wife who wanted Bill out of her life so she could start a fresh life with her doctor boyfriend. The defense had a very different story. They said Bill wasn't an innocent victim. They claimed he was a violent gambler, had dangerous connections, and that someone else killed him. They insisted that Melanie wasn't the killer at all, that she'd been framed. The jury debated for 7 days. They found Melanie McGuire guilty of first-degree murder, possession of a weapon for unlawful purposes, desecration of human remains, and false testimony. She was sentenced to life in prison with a mandatory 75-year parole ineligibility period. Melanie is currently incarcerated at the Edna Mahan Correctional Facility for women in Clinton, New Jersey. Her most recent appeal, filed in 2020, was denied, with the court affirming that no new evidence changed the outcome of the case. Still, she maintains that she did not kill her husband and claims that the person responsible is still out there. This case is often referenced in discussions about forensic timelines because of how one piece of evidence led to the next. Each development in the investigation came from physical findings, documented purchases, electronic records, and standard investigative procedures. There were no sudden breakthroughs or dramatic confessions. Instead, investigators followed the available facts until the full sequence of events became clear. Melanie Maguire has continued to state that she was not responsible, but the court rulings have consistently upheld the original verdict. If you have examined this case closely, one thing is clear: she almost got away with it. The body was 300 miles away. Bleach had been poured over everything. The gun was tossed in the Atlantic. If she had stayed calm instead of setting that fire in a panic to make everything disappear, who knows? She might still be free today. What part of the evidence stood out the most? Was it the toll records, the gun purchase, the forensic recovery inside the apartment, or the fire a year later? Share your thoughts in the comments. And if you're interested in more detailed case breakdowns, hit that subscribe button, smash the like, and stay tuned for the next unbelievable case.